I thought it might be important that we talk to you and to the virtual world as well about the, I want to say the proclivities related to finding your voice as a vocalist. And I think that it's something that, well, certainly became much more challenging, certainly something much more potent in terms of how you get your message out in a pandemic society. But the good news is, folks, that the creative economy flourished during the pandemic, and now we have this plethora of amazing talent. And one person that I think is emblematic of that talent is Irene Jalenti. And I want to take a few moments to introduce her, if I may. Irene Jalenti is a native of Italy, so you can see how far Ella's voice traveled. And this is her first year serving as a judge for the Ella Fitzgerald competition panel. Ms. Jalenti was born into a musical family and pursued her passions as a vocalist, songwriter, and arranger. She arrived in Baltimore, Maryland in 2010 to attend the renowned Peabody Conservatory, and then went on to earn her advanced degrees at Howard University under the musical mentorship of Dr. Kanedra Miller. Today, we can find her teaching voice and choir at Syracuse University in New York. She is also a talented performer who has followed her muse through the American Songbook, world music, and beyond. Please allow me to introduce to you Irene Jalenti.
Thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, thank you for being here. I have my notes for what I want to talk about, and they look just like my head, a mess. But I swear they have something. I'm going to leave it here. First thing first, I really was very surprised and humbled by being invited to be a judge at a competition, because I always feel like I still have so much to do and to learn and just to better myself, that being there, that one who is judging somebody, felt a little funny to me. Although as an educator, I have to grade people and I have to judge them. But it was very humbling, because I moved here 12 years ago, and although I started as a singer when I was very young, my professional head and professional career really was really came late in my life. I moved here, I was already 30, so now you know how old I am. And I understood why Harry would ask me to talk about becoming a jazz vocalist, because of course there is, like, she's from Italy. What does she know? You know, why was she? That's the number one question. How did you end up becoming a jazz singer? So I decided to divide my little workshop or masterclass or just speech about, in two ways. The first one is the technical approach to becoming a jazz vocalist. And then I will go into more a philosophical mindset. So in terms of technical approach, I learned the old way. I didn't go to school until I was 30 for jazz music. I played with musicians that were better than me. So the number one thing for any vocalist of any kind of music is listening. The number one thing, you have to absorb yourself into the style. And for jazz music in particular, nowadays, we have to consider that it's not a mainstream kind of music. Like, it's not like you turn the radio on and the first thing you bump into is Ella. God forbid the social media or TV. Usually is used in movies as a background for some cocktail, wedding reception. You never really see the center of attention into this style of music anymore. While back in the day, that was pop music. That was what pop music was. So we, as performers, as future singers, if we want to approach this style, we have to absorb ourselves and listen as much as possible to this music. Equally important is, to me, the act of getting out of the house and going to clubs, witness the music live, and go seeking for musicians to play with. The old way was like you go to a jam session and you showcase yourself and you call a tune and you try to learn from the older musicians. This is an orally transmitted music. The people that created this music were not writing it down. They were learning it from each other. And I think that that's a tool that is not used so much nowadays, especially from the younger generations, because, you know, we love staying in the house, posting stories on Instagram, YouTube videos, but in the end of the day, this is a music that you have to absorb in a more, on a deeper level. And that mentorship that comes from older musicians is everything that really young performers should consider really pursuing. Then, you know, of course, in terms of like technical work, it's important for vocalists to really learn their craft in terms of the theoretical and harmonic way of this music. So this is when, you know, college or studying privately comes in handy, because you learn how to make your charts, how to learn to navigate the chord changes and the harmonies, because of course this is a music that invites people to improvise and to go different ways that are not written on paper. And the other thing that I think that it's very important for vocalists in particular, we have to earn the respect of the instrumentalists. We have a bad reputation. Rightfully so, unfortunately, I have to say, there are reasons, but I mean, we are not all bad. But we you know, there's a lot of jokes about singers. And we have to earn the respect. And knowing our keys, knowing how to cue, knowing how to count on a piece, knowing the structure, the form of a song, and having that knowledge that lets the other people in the band trust you to the point that they allow you to lead, that they don't take your place, which is the temptation that, you know, they have. But it's our role as vocalists to showcase that to show them that they can trust us. Because we can be part of the band as musicians. We are musicians. We are the primordial musicians. We're using the voice. It's the first ever instrument. It's the one that's closest to our body. And no other instrument has that uniqueness than the human voice. So going to school is very important, but learning from the greats is even more important. Transcriptions are extremely important, because to absorb the jazz language, and you know, for people who don't know what a transcription is taking a solo that was already recorded, a vocal solo, a trumpet solo, a saxophone solo, a piano solo, any kind of solo, and literally learning every single note orally. So by listening to it over and over and over again, to the point that it becomes second nature to approach the music in that way. And so we learn all these patterns, all these licks, all these languages within the music that we really want to be part of our system, so that when we get on stage, it's such a is so much part of us that we don't have to think too much. This music is special because it's never the same. You can go to, I mean, hopefully, I've seen some performances that were very static, you know, very there, one way. But this is not the core of this style, is to make the song, every piece, reflect who you are in that moment, who you are musically and as a human, just in that specific one moment in time, so that the audience can connect with you and they know that that night they were so special because they witnessed something that nobody else coming after or who came before can actually witness. So these are the things, right, that fall into the technical part of becoming a jazz singer or becoming a singer in general of whatever style. But on this outer column, I have the philosophical approach. So I was, you know, as I was thinking about what am I going to talk about, this question came to me. Can you become a jazz singer, or are you already a jazz singer who can become better? So, background, I'm from Italy. I grew up surrounded by a lot of Italian music and classical music. My grandparents were opera singers. My uncle was a classical guitar player. And then I had all these other branches of family members that became pop singers. And my father would write songs for my uncle. And later on, my father opened, actually early on, in 1964, he opened a music shop, music store, where I grew up. So I grew up there, and I worked my entire life in that store. And I listened to any kind of music. Never in my mind I had the thought of, I knew I loved to sing, but never in my mind I thought, I want to be a jazz singer, I want to be a blues singer, I want to be a pop singer. I just wanted to sing. And I just loved music. I really loved music, and I have just listened to all sorts of styles. Then when I was about 19, I got my first professional gig. And the band leader was this is amazing, this is so Italian, my family doctor / dentist. This is so Italian. So, you know, between a cavity and the other, he was like, so you want to come and sing with my group? I'm like, okay. So I went to the rehearsal, and I practiced with them, and they were doing rhythm and blues and soul music. And I learned all their repertoire, and then we had that first performance. And there was a special guest whose name is Lorenzo Fontana. He's an amazing tenor saxophone player, amazing. A character, but amazing player. And after doing the sound check, he comes to me and is like, Irene, right? Actually said, Irene. Like, yes? Do you sing jazz? I'm like, well, I don't know. I like jazz. I listen to a lot of stuff. Yeah, you need to do though. You need to sing jazz. I'm like, oh, well, if you say so. I mean, I guess I'll trust you. So let's do this. During the gig, I just want you to improvise with me. I'm just gonna play something, and you're gonna sing it back to me. It's like, cool. And that was the thing. Now I would probably be a little intimidated. Back then, I was like, all right, you know, like nonchalant. And we did. And we did what we call call and response. So he would play something, I would respond, and not even knowing exactly like what we were doing. It was a very spontaneous thing. And I had so much fun. So after the gig, it's like, yeah, you need to. So this is a list of tunes you need to learn. And I'll call you, and we're going to do a gig. I'm like, sure. Right, okay. And that's how I got started to sing in jazz. Somebody saw something, and I was singing something else. He heard something different, and it's like, he told me that I had that. And I never thought, I mean, I was singing anything. I loved Tracy Chapman because she had this deep voice, and I tried to look for singers that sounded like me because, I mean, you have the deepest experience of my voice. This is morning voiced for me, so it's extremely deep, but it doesn't go further up later on during the day, just so you know. But that was my initiation. I kept singing anything. I kept singing anything I loved. Then I remember these little key moments as I was reflecting on what I was going to talk about. I remember the first time when I was 13 years old or 12, listening to Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong singing Dream a Little Dream. And I was like, my God, what is this? And I remember I was the only kid that I knew who listened to this music. So it was a lonely experience, which I loved because it was very intimate and personal to me. Then I remember listening to Nina Simone the first time. I was like, oh my God, her voice is so deep. I can do that. We're there together. And she spoke to me so strongly. And I kept growing into all these different singers. And I just gravitated towards listening to these voices doing these amazing things. And then I remembered when I was even younger, I was a jazz singer in some way, because I remember, do you remember that blues, like that song called Green Onions? Yes. How does it go? It's an organ. Do you remember that? It was like a pop 60s song. And I remember I did this, like I was little and I would learn that melody. I loved to sing whatever instruments were singing. I remember In the Mood by the Glenn Miller Jazz Orchestra, and I would sing these wordless melodies. So I didn't do it because I wanted to be a jazz singer. It just was so cool to me. It was so beautiful, and I felt so connected to it. And so I started wondering, do we become jazz singers or any kind of singers, or are we already that? And we discover it by exploring so many different kinds of music. To me, I'm not a jazz singer. To me, I'm a singer. But jazz music just spoke so strongly in such a powerful way to me that I just couldn't stop wanting to sing it. In 2006, I went to do a masterclass, a workshop of 2 weeks in Perugia, which is a city in Umbria, Umbria Jazz, that's my region. And it had all these amazing teachers from Berkeley. Donna McElroy was the teacher at that time. And I remember being for 2 weeks immersed like 24/7 in this music. And I remember how empty it felt when it was done. I mean, I get a little emotional because going back then, that really was the moment. It's like, I want to do this. This is what is missing in my life. This is giving me a purpose. And it changed my life. I started traveling to Paris, and then I went to New York, and then I did anything possible to move here because I wanted to learn about this music on a deeper level. I mean, if you want to make pizza, you got to go to Naples. So if you want to learn jazz, you have to come here. And I guess thinking about what to talk about today, it was such an intimate call for me. And still today, I love to merge different styles of music because I love music. So you come to one of my, I mean, if you listen to my record, I have Let It Be by the Beatles. Does that make me less jazz? I don't know. I don't care. I just really want to sing what speaks to me. And that's my other thing that I really want to get for ending my conversation about becoming a jazz vocalist or becoming a musician of any sorts. Don't do it just because you think it's cool. I want to do jazz because I just think it's cool. Sing what makes you feel something. Just sing the music. My purpose when I go on stage, I don't care to showcase what I can do because I can do many things. And I still have so much to learn, and I feel like I'm still at I always feel like I'm at beginning level. This is me and my mind working in funny ways. So I'm always digging and learning music and listening to different things. Go on stage. I want to go on stage giving something. I want to leave the audience with a feeling of they came on a journey with me and I took them somewhere that it can really stay with them for some time. And I hope that I'm successful. I don't know. Sometimes I do. Sometimes people come and they say that I cried, and other times they tell me, I didn't really like that song. And it's fine. Listen, it's fine. Just give it to me. I don't like when you go to high notes. Oh, you sing too deep. Oh, what? That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But in that moment, I want to be, if in that moment I feel like doing that, I shouldn't be feeling like, no, I have to be more jazzy because or I should be less jazzy. I should improvise more or less. Stop, get out of that. I really want to feel something and I want to make people feel something. So these younger singers, yes, let's do all the work, all this technical work that I talked about, studying the scales, the arpeggios, the licks, transcriptions, it's all cool. But in the end, are you feeling something when you do it to the point that you want to do it? Because that's the only thing that makes you kind of get emotional on stage or super happy to the point that you don't want to stop doing it. And I think that really is my core point of what becoming any kind of singer is. Do it because it's the only thing that makes you feel like you have a purpose. We have the voice. We have words. Guys, we got words. And you know how powerful it is, the fact that I can sing in a different language and you might not know what I'm talking about and you feel something? I had no idea what the singers was talking about when I was 11. I barely spoke Italian. Still, my dialect is so strong. I got my the rough when I speak Italian. But it's like it was so powerful to me. We have the most unique instrument. Instrumentalists, they wish they had what we have. So let's get out of the mentality of, I want to become a jazz singer. Just be the best, unique musician that you can possibly be, and just be you. That's it. And that's all I got to say about that. Let's see if I got through. Let's see if I got through all the things that I had. Oh my God, I don't even know. This is a mess. Well, any questions?
We want to hear you sing. I know. Yes.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I was a bluesali on Thursday, right? There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, very far, over land and sea. A little shy and sad of eye, but very wise, oh, so very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day came my way, and as we spoke of Many things, fools and kings, this he said to me. The greatest thing that you'll ever learn, it's just to love and be loved in return. Thank you. Oh, I'll give it back. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.